Okay, real talk. Why does Whis over here is talking like the Grand Priest just cheated on his mom? And he's like, why? Why did you do that? Before I start the review, can I just take a little moment here to appreciate this little touch here by Toyotaro? Like, I know the guy can come under scrutiny when it comes to certain aspects of his storytelling, but in this instance, Toyotaro shows his worth by doing this simple stuff correctly. And this goes back to what I was saying in my previous review. Toyotaro is a clear, huge fan of the Dragon Ball franchise. Like, you can actually tell, like, the mentality, the outlook, the type of writing that he does is someone who just appreciates the little small details. And it feels like he loves to revisit small little things that we've seen before. By making these little callbacks, now when Piccolo does the clothes beam thing, like I understand this is something that we've seen Piccolo doing throughout Dragon Ball Z, so this is something that Toriyama used to do. Even Kabuto-kai did that for Gohan in the Buu arc when Gohan faced Super Buu. So this is not something revolutionary. I'm not saying that Toyotaro is the greatest writer of all time because of this, but it's just little details that Toei Animation, the staff, seems to completely forget, ignore, or just not care about. In the Resurrection of Movie F, Jesus, I fucked up that title. But in the Resurrection of F movie, we've seen Gohan being like in his like not so badass clothes, and that was like a source of frustration for a lot of fans. A lot of people didn't like the design, and a lot of people used to be like, yeah, well, Gohan couldn't change his clothes. Gohan didn't have his clothes. Gohan didn't have his gi. But you do realize that Piccolo can give him the clothes beam. So here, Toyotaro just shows you that you don't really need a reason. You can just like, for no reason, Piccolo can just give him clothes. Like, I know this is a sign of Piccolo's respect or Piccolo's approval of Gohan saving him, so it's just a little nice thing that Piccolo did for Gohan. But still, like, the fact that they were too lazy to do that is sort of annoying. Like, I understand that you can come up with headcanons why it didn't happen, but you can come up with an equal amount of reasons to suggest why it should. Anyways, I can't believe like I took 2 minutes just starting off to praise Toyotaro only to make it into a mini rant. Anyways, I'm sorry. Let's just move on and talk and review this this chapter. Toyotaro starts this chapter by pulling no punches, and I mean that quite literally, because Gohan just punches 73 through the stomach in such an amazing fashion. Like, just look at this shot right here. It just looks so badass. And Gohan displays this sort of badassery throughout the chapter, right up to later, but we'll talk about this in a little bit. Gohan seems incredibly competent in this fight, and this is something that I like about Manga Gohan. Manga Gohan is a lot more competent than the Gohan in the anime. Like, he's very powerful and he has demonstrated a lot of interesting feats. Now again, if you know anything about me, I don't think like power or strength is something that makes a character, but it's how the character carries himself, and Gohan certainly carries himself in such impressive fashion. And his opponent, 73, complements that very much, because Gohan is able to display what he's worth and what he can do against what looks like or seems like his master's own fighting style, as Gohan completely outclasses 73 and just rubs it in Piccolo's face by saying, yeah, it's like, I know your move so I can beat him. And because Gohan is fighting someone who's essentially Piccolo, 73 uses a lot of Piccolo's signature moves and signature attacks, which is really satisfying to see. Possibly one of my favorite shots or favorite scenes in this manga is when 73 displays the Hell's On grenade. Okay, some people might call it scattershot, but if you're someone who played the Budokai games like me extensively, I call it the Hell's On grenade. Tell me if I'm wrong. Actually, I'm actually really interested what you call it down in the comment section down below. Do you call it scattershot or do you call it Hell's On grenade like me? But anyways, 73 uses that move, and not only does Gohan evades that move, because he understands what that move does. So he evades it, and he just manages to disappear behind 73 and does something like from Yu Yu Hakusho, like the spirit gun sort of like pose, and it just looks really badass. And I think this is the most badass pose and the most badass scene in the manga thus far. Not in the manga in general, but in the chapter of this manga. But sadly, the trend continues. Since we've seen Majin Buu having his time to shine, we also seen Piccolo having his time, and now we saw Gohan. But all of them have one common denominator, is that all of them are short-lived. So each of these characters had sort of like half a chapter to shine, only for them to get shitted on. Now, in terms of Gohan's case, and most of the others' case, it's pretty convincing because 73 pulls out something out of the bag. As not only can he store and steal people's power, but he can store up to 3 techniques or three characters. So he switches to Moro, and when he switches to Moro, he starts using his absorption ability. And this honestly shows that 73 is actually an OP character. I'm not saying he's actually OP because this hinges on the fact that he has to steal someone's character. So if 73 wants to do the Hawkeye, he'd have to hold Beerus's neck, which I don't think he'll be able to survive 1 second against Beerus. But I digress. 73 seems to have saved his own life by being shoved into a corner and reveals his trump card. And I really like the way they did it here, as Gohan was humiliating 73, dodging his attacks while powering up his Kamehameha in order to finish him. 73 takes extreme measures and we see him remove Piccolo's abilities, only for us to see him unexpectedly switch to Moro's. And from there, the scale has tipped into the other side, as Moro immediately absorbs Gohan's attacks and starts to absorb the rest of the planet. At this point, it was implied that the heroes lost and 73 would have probably finished them off. But Krillin does the same thing he did in the Saiyan saga against Nappa and Vegeta, if you remember, and prompts the villains by telling them that Goku and Vegeta will beat their ass. Moro, in complete perfect Cell fashion, agrees and makes that mistake of his life and agree with that proposition, as his hunger to absorb more power has exceeded any self-reasoning. So luckily for the heroes, they get enough time, around 2 months, to train and prepare for the next invasion, which is pretty decent time, but honestly I'm a little bit disappointed because I thought that we're not gonna have the same old, like, I know that I've been praising Toyotaro for reusing, I won't say reusing, but sort of like using previous elements and using stuff that Dragon Ball Z has been doing, but this just feels like it's just gonna waste more time. The fact that it's just gonna stretch the arc a little bit more, I'm not a complete fan of. Again, I don't know if what's gonna happen. You guys already know because you guys already read and seen what's gonna happen. So maybe Toyotaro is gonna be able to improve upon this. But for me, I would rather if they just didn't. But anyways, we pan to Mira's fighting with Goku, and we see them train even further, and we see that Mira's more hints that he's an angel because he says that he doesn't need to eat. He just eats if he wants to eat, which is such a vampire thing to say, if you ask me. But anyways, Goku says that he also was not gonna eat. Yeah, right, like I believe you, Goku, you fat ass. But anyways, the story concludes when the next scene, when we see Whis confronting the Grand Priest and asking about Miras, and the Grand Priest is saying, yeah, I know what you're talking about. So I hope that next chapter we're going to have more information regarding Miras and who he is. But I think most of you and even me at this point can tell that he is some sort of angel. Whether he's half hybrid or half angel, I don't know. I could speculate and stay here and speculate with you guys, but since you already guys know who he is, I think it's just going to be a waste of time. It's not like I'm going to make a video about it and be like, oh hey guys, let's guess the identity of Miras, because again, most of you know, and the other YouTubers probably already did videos about the identity of Miras. So I'm gonna see you guys next time. I hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, then please like, comment, and subscribe. Peace, guys.